Good morning, my friends. Hey, this is Rosa. Hopefully, your favorite real estate broker. All right, so we are getting ready for today, which is Thirsty Thursday. That's right. You heard me, my friends. It is Thirsty Thursday. So, what is right? Thirsty Thursday for knowledge with Rosa. So that's what we're going to go over. So I have quite a few things that I wanted to discuss that I thought would be great for you. Ray, thank you so much. Asha, user, we appreciate you. I have quite a few things that I wanted to go over with you. But of course, as we kind of go through this thing, please leave your comments. Anthony, Jeb Longs, thank you so much for joining us. Please make sure you're leaving your comments and that you know that I am available to help you every step of the way, right? So as questions come up, maybe it's concerning real estate, right? Maybe it's concerning mortgages. Maybe it's concerning credit repair, right? Maybe it's concerning about buying or selling an investment property. So, whatever it might be, it is Thirsty Thursday and it's time for you to take your life. That's right, you heard me, to take your life because only you can do it, to take your life to the next step. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to go over today was a little bit of what's called, hey Scott Rye, thank you so much for joining us, is called managing conflict. Oh man. So can you believe, and I know you might not believe me, you might be like, come on, Rob, you're full of baloney. What are you talking about? Hey, William Menza, Navy, thank you so much for joining us. Managing conflict. There's never conflict in real estate transactions. Well, are you kidding me, my friends? Right? And I have a couple of different posts going on here, so you might see me moving around a little bit. I want to make sure that I give you my full attention. Gigi, Eli, Debbie. Okay, so managing conflict. Well, we know that during real estate transactions, my friends, that there are sometimes some disagreements, right? There are sometimes, believe it or not, some miscommunications. There are sometimes some misunderstandings, and that the stresses, right, and emotions, they can flare up almost any time. Right, especially during this time of year. I mean, right now it's November, and we know the holidays are coming, and there's going to be a big rush for everything over the next 6 weeks. And you might still be looking to buy some real estate or deal with your credit or deal with your mortgage, right? And you might have some problems. So let's talk about how we can keep things going forward. Hey, Scott, thank you so much, my man, for joining us here on LinkedIn Live. I appreciate you, my man. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us. All right, so let's talk about how we can keep things moving forward, helping you. That's my goal every day, is to help you every step of the way, trying to keep things peaceful, which is not always important, trying to keep things moving forward and you being happy, right? We want to try to make things as smooth as possible, and these will help you in your everyday life too. So number one is preempting the conflict. That's right, you heard me. Preempt the conflict. Have an upfront conversation to discuss what each person's understandings are of the expectations. Like, so this is a problem. This is an issue that I think that we have. There are so many times where someone will call me up and be like, oh, I want to buy a home, I want to sell a home, I want to do this and this. And I say, but the first thing is, because I never want any ethical concerns. So I say, well, are you working with another agent? And they say, well, there was this one agent that they showed me a home, or they showed me 3 homes like 3, 4 months ago, but I never heard from them again. And I'm like, really? Are you kidding me? I say, did you sit down with them? Did you discuss what it is that they're going to offer you, how they're going to help you? Did you discuss your expectations of what you expect? Hey, Janice, thank you so much for joining us. Of what you expect from them. Did they discuss with you about what they expect from you as a client? Because I'm going to be straightforward with you. You might feel, well, I'm the client and I'm the customer and I'm going to get everything my way. And, I expect everything and that's it. And I can tell you in real life, especially with a professional person who really does want to help you, it's not going to be that way. You have to have discussions and communications about what's going to be in your best interest, what you're looking for, knowledge about the details of a potential transaction, who's going to get paid, how much are they going to get paid, how is the market working right now, what days and times are each of you available, how do closings work, what is the process of buying or selling that particular property. And so you see, you need to have that's a preempting conflict scenario to be able to talk with someone. So I tell you right now, I mean, and this puts me in a little tricky situation, but I'm not trying to interfere with any agency relationships. Make sure that you're having these discussions with your agent right now if you already have an agent. And if you don't, or if you don't have these discussions and they just want to meet you at the house and you never met them before, they don't know anything about you, you don't know anything about them, you have to wonder, am I with the right person? Okay. So number one is preempting the conflict. Number two, oh, this is a tough one, is confronting the conflict. So you see, just like anything else in your personal relationships, if an issue emerges, if you have some questions about things, you're not sure about something. Hey, Nancy, thank you so much for joining us. You're not happy. Well, don't let it fester. Don't let it bother you continuously. Ask yourself, hey, what can I do to make things better? Right? Can we maybe have a discussion about this? Can we talk about it a little bit? Here's kind of what's bothering me, right? And this is in your personal relationships. It's in professional relationships. I try to be, and I sometimes I have to start off with people. Listen, please don't get offended, but I'm trying to be very transparent with you. I'm always trying to be honest. I mean, I really am. I can tell you, always is a very, very strong word, but I'm not trying to rip anybody off on their money. Come on. I mean, that's just like, how am I going to be in this business for 23 years and maybe another 20 more if I'm going to be ripping people off? But sometimes it's hard to be brutally transparent, right? And so sometimes we have to have those discussions. Like, hey, you told me you were gonna meet me here at 12 o'clock to look at this home, and you show up at 20 after 12, and it's kind of not the first time. You're late like 25 minutes every time, and I do have a very busy schedule. I'm not too busy for you, but I do have a very busy schedule, and it's not right for me because I show up at quarter of. I show up 15 minutes early and then I'm waiting 20 minutes for you. That's 35 minutes out of my life. Right? So have those discussions, and it works both ways. It works both ways, whether it's the client and the real estate agent, the client or the customer and the mortgage person, or the customer and the credit repair. Talk about things, my friends. Number three is managing emotions. Oh man, what happens when that first person, which I got to tell you, I'm not perfect, right? What happens when that first person raises their voice? Do you match their bad behavior? Because I can tell you, my first instinct is to match their bad behavior. Oh man, you come at me a certain way on a text or a conversation. My first instinct is boom, come right back even harder. And I know deep down that that is not right. That's not the right thing to do. I should not be matching people's bad behavior. I have to make sure I'm working. Good morning. Good morning, Jimmy Santiago. Thank you so much on Facebook. Right. I need to make sure that I'm staying respectful, right? That I'm staying composed, right? So sometimes we have to check ourselves, right? We don't have to go back at them like that. What's the reason for that? And I remind myself of that. Well, what's the reason, Rob? Why do you have to go back at them the way that they came at you? You can take it up a level, right? You don't have to match that. And then number four, and this could be like, hey, Henry, Christopher, Izzy, thank you so much for joining us. This could be like a discussion that you're loving right now, where you're like, why is this dude even talking about this? But here's the last one is moving past it. And I'm pretty good at that. I can forgive and forget usually pretty good. If somebody's like being straight up with me, like, hey, Rob, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been like that. Or I'm like, hey, I'm very sorry, that I've been late twice, but here's what's going on. Blah, 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 blah. And sometimes we can never meet each other's expectations. Like, for example, if you're every single weekend, you're like Saturday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you want to go look at a bunch of homes. And I might do it once or twice, but I'm not going to do it every Saturday. I'll be straightforward with you, right? Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, right? Because on Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, I want to be with my family. I want to be eating some macaroni. I want to be having maybe just a little bit of vino. I want to be having some garlic bread. I want to be laughing with my wife and my kids and my grandchildren. I want to be watching some football. I'm not going to be out there every single Sunday at 4. So maybe I have to have an agent on my team who's going to help me. There's a lot of different ways that we can work with each other to manage expectations, and we can move forward in a nice way. All right. So those are the things: preempt the conflict, confront the conflict, right? Manage emotions, and then moving past. Now, if you have any questions, Jeremiah, Gillis, Scott, Naomi, Mario, please make sure you put it in the comments, because I'm here for you. And otherwise, my friends, I'm going to go on and speak about the things that I like to talk about, right? So, and Chris, thank you so much for joining us. So, really, when it comes down to it, well, let's talk about deed fraud. Oh man, you might have seen that like on the news. You might have seen that on one of these shows like Dateline and all this kind of good stuff. Okay, so everything that I'm talking about here, you could put me on record. Make sure you record this. Okay, what we're talking about here. There's going to be an attorney who could very easily say, well, you know what, Rosa, that's not exactly right. And I'll say, you know what? You're probably right, because you're the expert. I'm not an attorney. Now, am I a real estate broker for 20 years? Yes. Do I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with a lot of this stuff and teaching the real estate class? So if you don't know, you're able to work on getting your pre-licensing certificate with me if it's in the state of Connecticut. So anyways, we're going to talk about the rising fraud involving bogus deeds. Okay, so can someone actually steal your home? Isn't that amazing? We're not used to this type of stuff, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. We're going to get into it. So let's first of all talk about a deed, a property deed, right? What does that mean? What are the 4 things you need to know about a property deed? Well, number one, what is the deed? It's a document that transfers ownership from one person to another. Typically, that deed is held in Connecticut, anyways, by the local government land records office, by the clerk's office. Okay, that's number one. So that's a deed. Now, we don't have a certificate of title or certificate like you would in Connecticut, like you would for personal property, right? Like you would for your car, your motorcycle, your camper, believe it or not, even your mobile home. I think it's a little funny. I hope this guy's not watching. This is one of my favorite real estate attorneys. And whenever we do a mobile home sale, which we do those, a few a year, he'll call me up and he'll be like, oh, yep, right now I'm standing in the DMV line to do the transfer. And I'm kind of laughing about it. I'm like, hey, dude, you know what? You got to take the tough ones with the easy ones, right? Sometimes, so with a mobile home, believe it or not, you, in most cases, you get a certificate of title like you would for a car or motorcycle. You do not get a deed. But for a property, real estate in Connecticut or real property in Connecticut, you get a deed. Lewis, Angel, SA, thank you so much for watching us. Watching us. All right. And of course, everyone, of course, I appreciate shares and likes and letting people know that, hey, this guy, Rob Rosa, he's available to help you. Okay. So the next thing we need to know about a property deed is whose name is on it. Man, I think this is incredible. I think this is incredible. Whose name is on the deed? Well, first of all, I can tell you it depends on the state, and also depends on what type, if you're giving a mortgage or a deed of trust. But let's just talk about Connecticut, right? Hey, Silent, you look kind of like a 80s kids movie con man. Oh wow, man. Thank you so much for thank you so much for the wonderful, wonderful comments that you made. That's very nice of you. All right. So, whose name is on it? Okay. So here's what the amazing thing is. Believe it or not, would you know that I have helped people with some of the programs that we have? Because between the state of Connecticut and the federal government here in the United States, we have so many, so many, so many programs. So, like last couple of weeks, I mean, I've helped a couple of people buy a home $325,000, no money down. In fact, they didn't even have to come up with the closing costs because between a seller credit and between um, rolling some of that stuff into the loan, right? They didn't even have to come up with the closing costs. All they really had to do was pay for their appraisal, and they didn't even do an inspection because they didn't want to, but they paid for their appraisal and they paid for some of their insurance. So let's just make pretend that cost them $1,000, $1,200, and they bought a $325,000 home. And would you believe that's a no money down program? When I go into the town hall in a few days after they record things, the deed is going to be in that person's name. They didn't put down any money for the home at all, but the deed will be in their name. So again, it does depend on the state, but I can tell you if you own the home, of course, if you own it outright, the deed is going to be in your name. Or even if you have a mortgage here in Connecticut, right, the deed is going to be in your name most of the time. Will there be some exceptions? Yes. Will an attorney give you maybe some technicalities of what I'm explaining? Of course. But I'm giving you the general terms. Hey, Mester, thank you so much for joining us. All right. So, how do you protect your deed? Right. So that's number 3. Right. I guess today's magic number 4 day because we talked about the 4 ways of managing conflict. Oops. We talked about the 4 ways of managing conflict. It's Thursday. You could say that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 4th day of the week. And now we're talking about the 4 things you need to know about your property deed. So how do you protect it? Well, first of all, it takes your signature in order to finalize the transfer of a property. So never, never sign a real estate document under pressure. I don't care if it's your real estate agent. I don't care if it's an attorney. Make sure that you feel 100% comfortable and review it with your attorney. I mean, there are some people out there that somehow they're going to get you to sign an agreement to somehow transfer your deed. And you have to be very, very careful of that. Okay. So don't feel pressure. Make sure you understand what you're signing. And if the person's sitting in front of you, ask them to go over it and see the words on the document. Hey, Eric, thank you so much for joining us. All right. And number 4, what to watch out for is never disregard. So, we have this. We have this way about us where we're so busy in life that we're almost too busy for the important things. So we get mail, We get tax related documents, we get other home related documents sent to us, and a lot of times we just ignore it, or we don't really read it, or we put it aside. And guess what happens? Well, this might be suggesting, right, that someone is illegally transferring your deed into their name. Or it might even be credit cards and that sort of thing, when we talk about credit repair. So be very, very careful, right, about those things. So here's the four things you need to know about the deed. Well, you need to know, what is it? It's a document that transfers ownership. Whose name is on it? It should be yours, especially in the state of Connecticut. There are some exceptions, and of course, every state is different, and you should always talk with an attorney, right? How to protect your deed. Well, never sign a document under pressure. And what else to watch out for? Watch out for your mail. If you're getting mail in other people's names all the time, somehow they're using that address, and there could be some issues that are coming along. Thank God, in the state of Connecticut, when we do transfers of real property, there has to be an attorney involved who's going to record that. And so that usually works out pretty darn good. But we always have to be careful. I don't want to be the sole source of education for you. So if you need to talk to an attorney, you let me know. I can put you in touch with somebody that we can trust. Thank you so much for your likes and your shares. And we're now, lastly, before we get going, because so we talked about managing conflict, we talked about the wonderful things that you need to know, and I did get this information by a gentleman named Jay Inwald of Legal Services New York City in the wonderful magazine AARP. We talked about a little bit about, can a crook steal your entire home? Right. So that's the important part, to make sure that you understand. Well, you know what? Can they steal your home? So be careful about that, making sure that you understand and you know things. All right. Now, lastly, before I go, and please put your questions. It's Thirsty Thursday for Knowledge with Rosa, right? We're talking about real estate. We're talking about mortgages. We're talking about credit repair. We're talking about you starting a career in real estate, whatever it is that you have that's related to that. I mean, I could talk about anything, really. I could talk about my coffee, which of course, I love coffee. Here's my mug. I can talk about, this stuffed animal, the Mickey Mouse stuffed animal that my wife got me 15 years ago, and I still have it here in my office. I can talk about anything, but, I like to talk about real estate, mortgages, investing, whatever it might be. All right. Now, the next thing that I wanted to mention to you was really talking about credit repair, right? Now, I help quite a few people with credit repair. And the one way in which we do this is, we usually, we meet up once a week, right? And here you go. I mean, once a month. I apologize. I take that back. Once a month. Don't let your past ruin your future. Establish a new beginning. I mean, come on, that's pretty darn awesome. So let's talk about that. Believe it or not, your credit is going to affect so many things. You might be like, well, I'm not going to buy a house, so what do I care about my credit? Well, would you believe, if you own a car, of course, if you go to get a car loan, it's going to cost you more if your credit score is not there. Okay. If you already paid off your car, but you're paying car insurance, your insurance is higher when your credit score is lower. So that's pretty important to know. And it will affect, of course, your credit cards and your credit card rates and all that kind of good stuff. So you want to make sure that your credit is on point. I am going to tell you, and of course, some people say, oh, they might say, well, you're just saying that, Rob. Well, I don't make a lot of money off of credit restoration. And I don't. And I don't even advertise it a lot. I usually do it for when I meet a buyer and they can't buy a home. Well, I want to make things fast and easy for them. So, it's simple and easy usually for me to help restore your credit. And I become your coach. I become your mentor. And then we also do work, right? But you're going to have some homework. I'm going to have some homework. I'm going to make sure the letters are created according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I'm going to make sure that they're mailed out and so forth. And then you are going to have some homework to do as well. And so here's some of the things, like as an example, right? We're going to put together, what are your goals for the month, right? What credit card dates do you have to remember? What bills do you have to send out? What are the reminders and notes that you need with that? Now, I can tell you for my credit restoration, and every company is different. So you might have had a credit card company or a company that says, oh, yeah, we're going to be able to do this for you and da 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 da. But you have to pay a setup fee and a registration fee, and you have to pay all this kind of good stuff, and you have to sign up with a contract. I don't do any of that. Okay. All I do is I say, hey, listen, you know what? Let's get you set up, and it's going to cost you $99 a month. It's just something as simple as that. All right. If you want to learn more about it, all you need to do is go to smartreadvice.com and you'll get to know me. And you can send me a message if you want to. And I'm going to basically be working on giving you honest, caring, truthful real estate advice. Right? We're actually going to have, and this is interesting, because this is more like a manual page, but I have a system that I use. And basically what it does, just so you can see here, is that it's a dispute tracker, right? So every month, what we're going to do is we're going to look at, well, what's on your credit report according to collections? What's on your credit report for charge-offs? What do you have for new inquiries? What do you have for late payments? So you see, all that stuff is important because that's what's going to help you get your accomplishments taken care of for you to get to where you want to be. All right. So here's what I'm going to leave it. And of course, if you have any questions, you let me know. But where I'm going to leave it is reminding you, my friends, and I'm telling you this because I care about you. You're only one decision away from a new beginning. One step, one decision. So here it is Thursday. You might have been thinking about something over the weekend, last weekend. I know you were. And you were thinking, man, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should take care of this. And here it is 4 days later, and you haven't done it. You haven't taken that just one step, that one decision to get yourself going forward. Well, this might be that chance. And if you need my help, you need my guidance, you need my wisdom, you need my inspiration. I'm not saying I'm perfect and I don't know everything, but I can help you get there. If you're thinking about starting to invest, you want to take a look at a new career, you want to get your credit repaired, you want to get a better mortgage, you want to buy a better home, you want to one of the fun things that's so nice is that I had a house for sale, and these clients came to me and said, it was it was the day after Halloween, November 1st. They said, can you get us in this home before Thanksgiving? I was like, I don't know. I said, are you paying in cash? No, we need to give a mortgage. We need to get some money from the bank. And I was able to talk with the mortgage person, with the real estate agent on the other side, and we've been working our butt off. And this couple, they're going to get in that house before Thanksgiving. So that's what we're excited about. I hope that you are having an awesome week, a blessed week. I hope you're looking forward to next week with family and friends. And I definitely wish you the best in everything. And this is Rob Rosa. Hopefully your favorite real estate broker never gets old, my friend. Signing out. We'll talk to you later.